Main idea, just get right into it and try to think big picture, dumb summary stuff. In a study of new technology adoption, these people examined negative disconfirmation, which occurs when experiences fall short of one's expectations, to determine whether it could lead to positive outcomes for users. So, okay, it falls short, but there's a positive outcome, maybe. The team focused on established users of smart home technology, which presents inherent utilization challenges, but tends to attract users with high expectations, often leading to feelings of dissonance. So, tough word, but maybe from context we get it. The researchers found that many users employed cognitive mechanisms to mitigate those feelings, ultimately reversing their initial sense of disappointment. So there's a lot of classic SAT words here, but I think there's enough normal words that you should still know what they're saying here. Reversing an initial sense of disappointment, right? Reversing disappointment means there's something good happened, right? So this is kind of like some sort of positive. So what's the main idea of the text? Let's just see. Okay, there's a lot of tough things here, but there are things that you should have at least be paying attention to as you read that passage. Research suggests that most, I already don't love that, users of smart home technology will not achieve a feeling of satisfaction given the utilization challenges of such technology. Well, this is a classic example where if all you understood was the end, ultimately reversing their initial sense of disappointment. So if it's a double negative, we get a positive. Right? What is this saying? This is saying the smart home technology will not achieve a feeling of satisfaction. Not positive, right? So this is negative positive. So that's an overall negative, right? This is basic negatives in math, right? We're just thinking about it in terms of connotations here. So this is saying a lot of the right words, but it's definitely focusing on the wrong connotation. This is saying they're not going to be satisfied. The passage is definitely saying that, but it's saying it in this kind of backwards way, knowing you are less likely to pay attention to that. But you got to notice connotations in words and put them together like a math problem. B, although most smart home technology is aimed at meeting or exceeding users' high expectations, I don't know about that. Are we talking about most technology? I don't know. Those expectations in general remain poorly understood? Well, no. I mean, I know that that's negative, but like, it's not poorly understood. They're saying that they did these studies and understood it. So the whole point of this is that they understand what people feel and why they feel that way. It's not poorly understood. I mean, maybe it's not perfectly understood, but it's certainly not, we're not confused here. And then again, that word most is such an important quantifier. Let me go back to the passage and just see. Do they talk about it? The researcher, the team focused on established users of smart home technology, which presents inherent utilization challenges, tends to attract users with high expectations. So it's talking about it, and it's not mentioning specific products, but I cannot use this passage to justify the idea that most smart home technology, right? The majority, more than half of all smart home technology is aimed at meeting or exceeding users' high expectations. They studied some smart home technology. I cannot make that kind of big leap and say that most of it is meant to do this. So yeah, no, that's gone. And the end part is also wrong, but that word most you got to notice as well. C, research suggests that users with high expectations for a new technology can feel content, meaning good, with that technology even after experiencing negative disconfirmation. So in terms of the dumb summary we have, the connotation, this is kind of saying that they feel good, which matches what the passage says, right? So it's more direct in choice C, but still. And do they experience this negative disconfirmation? I guess. So the researchers found, this is the last sentence, the researchers found that many users employed cognitive mechanisms to mitigate those feelings. What are those feelings? Let's go back one sentence. The team focused on established users of smart home technology, which presents inherent utilization challenges, but tends to attract users with high expectations, often leading to feelings of dissonance. So they have high expectations. Okay. So even if you don't know those words, I'm trying not to define dissonance for you yet, but even if not, it sounds pretty negative. So this negative disconfirmation thing we talked about in the first sentence, we designed a study to measure it. And so it seems logical that the second sentence is saying the smart home study is about it. This feels mostly right. Let's look at D and see if there's anything better here. Although negative disconfirmation has often been studied, do I know how often it's been studied? I don't. Let's keep going though. Little is known about the cognitive mechanisms shaping users' reactions to it in the context of new technology adoption. This feels like the end of choice B. little is known, it's poorly understood. Again, I don't think that that's true. We did a study on it. They found something out. The cognitive mechanisms, it says the users employed cognitive mechanisms to mitigate those feelings. Maybe I don't know the specific cognitive mechanisms, but they're not saying we don't know them. They're not mentioning them, but it's not saying it's because we don't understand them. But even still, it's this part really that does it for me. Has it often been studied? Did they study it a lot? I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so it doesn't seem like it's that often. So I would need evidence of that. I would need to say that there have been thousands of studies, hundreds of studies, many, many, many studies of this. We got one, right? We got one. That's it. So often is enough to get rid of it. So yeah, I thought C was right. And yeah, seems like it's the connotations that really help me out, or at least get rid of some of those choices for me. Let's talk about some of these words. Disconfirmation, you should be able to figure out from context. That is not a word that you would need to know, but if you confirm something, you're kind of verifying it, you're proving it, you're kind of supporting it. So if you're disconfirming it, it's kind of the opposite, right? You're somehow like not proving it or something. And they do explain what this means. So that's a technical term. I wouldn't really worry about that definition, which occurs when experiences fall short of one's expectations. So I guess you think it's going to be good, but then the negative is confirmed instead. Right? You're disconfirming what you thought was going to happen. The opposite is happening instead. I think that's kind of what they're going for. Then it says the team focused on established users of smart home technology. Established here means kind of people who have been proven to do it. They're established. It's already accepted that they use this technology, which presents inherent, meaning kind of it's built in, right? It's inherent, like you inherit genes. They're built into you from your parents, like, their genes, their genetics. Inherent means kind of in you or in this thing. It's in this process. And utilization is just how it's used. So there's inherent challenges. There's inherent problems with the way that we use this technology, but it tends to attract users with high expectations. So they think it's going to really help them, but it often leads to feelings of dissonance, meaning disharmony, right? You feel like this is going to be a good life-changing technology, but then it kind of has these problems. The buttons don't work. It doesn't do what you thought. So there's a dissonance. You felt good going in, but you're disappointed when you use it. So dissonance is lack of harmony. It's kind of two bad things mixing that don't really mix. Good word to know. Good SAT word. The researchers found that many users employed cognitive, meaning brain stuff, mechanisms to mitigate, meaning fix those feelings, right? So there's a dissonance, there's a negative feeling, but they're doing something in their brain to fix that problem, that make that bad feeling go away, ultimately, in the end, reversing their initial sense of disappointment, right? There we go. That's kind of what we've got. So it's this end part of this passage really does summarize everything that came before it, even if there were too many words you didn't know there. And that's why, whenever you're struggling with vocabulary on the SAT, you do need to learn new words. Some passages are going to hinge on particular words, but there's often enough words you do know or you should know that you can get by. So if there's words you don't know, then try your best with the words you do, and you might still be able to get the answer. I think that would have been totally possible here, even though this is a pretty hard question otherwise.